good morning to all of you this Saturday morning. And today we have Purnima Aiyar. Purnima is a fitness coach, health and wellness instructor, and she is a women lifestyle coach mainly. So she is NASM certified, ACE certified, and she has done a lot of other credentials in her career in terms of coaching people in health and fitness and lifestyle. So let me welcome Purnima for this show and let's try and understand with Purnima how exactly we can build our roadmap to a healthy and fit lifestyle in 2024. So, Purnima, let me start with the first question with you. First, definitely I want to understand more about you. Little introduction if you could provide to all of us, that will be of great help. And then from there, we'll move on to the other subsequent questions.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. So I'm really excited to share a lot of things with whoever is here and those who can listen to the recording later. So I have been in the fitness industry for close to 10 years plus now, coaching women especially, helping them not just with movement and exercise, but also how to look at health in a more holistic way, also to take care of your mental aspects of wellness, the emotional aspects of wellness, and also the various other things that go into bringing a more sense of well-being, which is your lifestyle. So helping them to understand how various things play a role in making them feel better. So I've been doing this for, like I said, over a decade, and it's been a great journey. And what's been most exciting is creating these transformation stories and in women, making health a lifestyle habit, not just like a quick fix. So that's what keeps me going.
So, Purnima and I were earlier recording a podcast, and in fact, the podcast is available on Apple Podcast and Amazon Music as well as Google Podcast and Spotify. And you can go online and listen to it. We are also going to publish the video of it on YouTube pretty soon. So, Purnima, picking up from that podcast, you have always, I would say, you have been a big proponent of building a lifestyle, and that's what I also believe in terms of it. So, how exactly we should try to build that kind of environment around us that we can start having a positive environment and we are part of that, say, positivity all around, and so that we take that step to a healthy life.
Yes. So I think the first step would be to first understand what goes into creating a more holistic wellness or feeling of overall well-being. So first is understanding the science, right? The first step would be to know, okay, what are the different things that I need to take care of? So understanding that there is a nutrition piece, what you put inside your body is going to have an impact on how you feel. Then how you move in terms of your movement, exercise, right? And then understanding then there is sleep aspect and rest aspect of it. Then there is how are you managing your stress? And then there is the mental and emotional aspect of it. So understanding that there are these five broad categories that I need to understand what goes into each of these categories. So understanding that is the first step. And I think today we have enough information, and a lot of coaches will also tell you that do this, do that. This is what the science says. So science is one piece of it. The second is you, right? You need to have an understanding of yourself. So that is the second piece. Second piece. So, understanding yourself well, and then you put together the science and the understanding of yourself to create a behavior change. So that is like a little systematic way of approaching this. Understand the science, spend some time to understand yourself. So I had spoken to you and shared a worksheet, right? So we will share with the audience later, but the worksheet is about really working in a step-by-step way and understanding where you are in each of these five broad categories by asking yourself a few basic questions. So that gives you a sense of which are your strong areas and which are your weak areas that you need to work on. You could be someone who is very good with nutrition. You're not junking on foods and you're not eating a lot of processed foods. You're eating at home. So nutrition could be your strong point. Maybe sleep is your weak point.
Yes.
And for someone else, it could be the reverse. So it's important to understand yourself, where you are. And so that would be the first step to working your way to progressing on your individual path to better health and fitness.
So as I understand, you talked about the two aspects. One is the scientific aspect of it that involves five broad pillars, and that we will go into detail today. And the aspect of understanding oneself, which is extremely critical because oftentimes we frame goals for ourselves, which are obviously very, very aspirational, and most cases we do not reach those aspirations because keeping, instead of taking, say, baby step or instead of believing into going stepwise, we always believe, okay, let's take a flight and then jump 10 steps ahead and then reach the pinnacle of the things. So that's where we falter and that's where we fall and all the problems start. So let's talk about the scientific aspect of it and the five broad aspects which you mentioned. One obviously
Yes.
is the nutrition part you talked about. Then you talked about the movement, you talked about the sleep, you talked about the stress management, and you also talked about the mental, emotional, and social health. So, if we have to understand, say, the nutritional aspect to start with, what are the key things that we should believe in terms of what are the key aspects that we should look at when we look at the nutrition or the food aspect of things in our lives?
Yes. So today you will notice that most of us are eating more than we need, right? So there is a little excess that is going on, which itself is a big problem, right? So we don't want to be overeating. So that is one aspect to look at. And you can begin to notice how your plate is. There is a lot of knowledge, a lot of people already have on having a balanced plate, eating in smaller plates, and portion management. So this is like managing your portions so that you're not overeating. So when it comes to nutrition, portion management becomes important. Also, what are you eating, right? One is the quantity. Second is the quality of what you're putting inside your body. So asking yourself if you're eating a variety of vegetables, are you eating? So just to have a rough measurement, do you eat 2 to 3 cups of vegetables? Variety of vegetables are you having in your diet? Asking yourself if you are eating good quality proteins in your diet. Asking yourself if you are including what is the quality of the grains that you're eating. Do you include whole grains in your diet? Are you drinking enough water? Are you adequately hydrated? Sometimes we are not hydrating. You don't think about it sometimes. So, doing that self assessment. Do you spend time outdoors to get some sunlight? So, and what is most important is being absolutely honest with yourself. You need to be honest with us. We need to be honest with ourselves so that we know exactly where we stand. So,
Yeah.
when it comes to nutrition, also it will help if you're just starting out. Most of us are not conscious of what we are putting on our plates because we have not given attention to this aspect of our life. So, if you want to sincerely work on improving your nutrition, begin by maintaining a food log. Just write down everything that you're eating without any judgment. Just write it down in a diary and do this for 3 days. Even if you go to a nutritionist for a diet plan, the first thing they want to know is what are you currently doing or what are you currently eating, right? So they will
Yeah.
say, give me your food log for few days. So do that for yourself. So that will give you an understanding of how you're eating. And then answer these questions. Does what you've been doing, does it include 2 to 3 cups vegetables? Are you eating fruits on a daily basis? So that will give you some sense of where you are,
Yes, exactly. Right.
right? So that's the nutrition piece.
Okay. So, for nutrition, obviously, tracking is extremely important, is what I understand. And oftentimes tracking also goes haywire because maybe we start, say, tracking it in the morning. Afternoon, we get busy with something and then we would just lose the track of it. So, how do we come back to it and how do we fix this process so that it becomes a foolproof or a fail-proof process?
Great, that's an interesting question. So the first step is always to get started, right? So like I said, begin somewhere. Show that intention to get started, and it is about staying on the path. And then your simplification of what you just said, we want to simplify the process, right? But like you said, we want to skip 10 steps and directly become experts overnight. That does not happen. So first step, we need to start logging. Like I said, for many of us don't have consciousness of what we are putting on our plate. So get down to step one. Become conscious of what you're putting on the plate. And I know our long-term goal is to simplify process because we don't want to keep thinking about food all the time. We don't want to keep thinking, what am I going to have for lunch? And I need to, we want to reduce that mental stress and pressure that we put on our brains. So that's a very interesting question. And I would say it's again a step-by-step process. So how it would work, first understand where you are. Next, you start to work on a few aspects. So you could look at, say, let me create a balanced meal plate. So even in that worksheet, the third step is creating process-oriented goals. So so you set certain process goals like I'm going to plan my meals for 5 days a week.
Uh-huh.
Pre-planning your meal 5 days a week. Everything feels challenging initially. You know that. Even in exercise and nutrition, any change that I want to make, change is always hard initially. You need to keep the faith and you need to keep putting in that effort. And slowly things fall in place. Planning becomes a habit. So that's when we talk about habits, right? So we repeat certain actions. So just sticking to that process, doing that 5 days of meal planning, do that, and then your journey will evolve. Now you get better at meal planning, then you ask yourself, okay, can I like make a plan for the week? Maybe I can stick up
Yeah.
something on my refrigerator for Monday through Friday. Can I do that? So then your steps and your process is evolving over time. Then you try that. That might work better for you. Then you may feel that, okay, I don't need to do this. I just need to make sure that I'm well stocked in my pantry with things.
So,
Now, the reason why I'm coming up with all these things, ideas, is because I've tried all this, right? I've tried all of these different ways because of my willingness to stay on this path and improve my nutrition. So when you want to improve your nutrition and you stick on the path, your individual journey will keep on evolving and you will start coming up with creative ways of simplifying this journey for yourself. So it is not just about me telling you that do this XYZ things. It is about you figuring it out. You know, I can give you like a basic direction, but after that, when you keep walking this, new ideas start coming to you. And that is the beauty of focusing on process. You know,
so
so yeah.
I would say pick up from here, and then when one very interesting thought comes to my mind. Often in times we will discuss आज खाने में क्या है, right? What was
Yeah.
there, and there's been ad also
That's the
created
most
around that.
stressful. That's the most stressful question. You know.
Exactly. That's the most stressful question. So, can we try and simplify and make it less stressful for everyone to understand how exactly? Okay, so I have suppose prepared a meal plan that okay, I will have this particular item and all. Oftentimes there are chances it may go haywire and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's important that we get enough nutrients in our plate, which is balanced, right? So it would be great to understand from you how exactly one can create that balanced plate, which is full of nutrients, and enjoy it. I mean, to that extent.
Yes, yes. So this is the science aspect of it, which you said that I want to have like nutritious food and different vegetables, nutritious and all that. So the second step is like kind of understanding yourself, right? Now, for me, I have not always been this person who really loves vegetables and all that. But then I knew the science of it that I had to include more vegetables to have my immunity going and feel energetic and good in my body. And then I discovered salads, and I love salads. I love trying out different dressings, and it just I love it. And this is the best way of incorporating more vegetables into my
True,
diet, right? So
true.
so now the science and the knowledge of myself comes together to make it possible for me to sustain this and to find
Absolutely.
joy in eating what I'm doing. And the other thing, going to a vegetable market and purchasing vegetables. So many of us
Absolutely.
just order vegetables on the phone, right? Because now it's become very convenient
True.
for us. But just going on earlier days, my mom used to take me with her for shopping and for vegetables, and we used to go to the sabzi mandi, and so many vegetables are there and all that.
Absolutely.
That kind of experience, even I am not giving to my daughter. But so the point I'm trying to make is when you see and you involve yourself into the process. In fact, when you prepare a dish or you involve your family into it, just notice the difference. You start getting excited about being in that, enjoying and participating in the process, and that helps bring a little bit more joy into what you're doing. Vis-a-vis, just telling yourself that, okay, science, 2 cups vegetables, and I need to just eat it, whether I enjoy it or not. So
True.
that becomes
True.
very frustrating in the long run, isn't it?
Yes.
So we need to involve ourselves. So it should not be a very passive way of looking at health and fitness. Just actively involve yourself in the process. Which is the very reason I shared with you the sheet for people to work with. You need to
Absolutely.
work with yourself and enjoy the journey and see how it's evolving. And everything becomes easier with time once these habits fall in place. So keep
Absolutely.
the faith and trust the process. I mean, we know these things. We talk a lot. We say trust the process. So you understand that when you start really doing things and sticking with it.
So you talked about trusting the process, and one of the important part of it is involving ourselves. I mean, getting involved in physical activities of that process, and movement specifically is extremely important on a day-to-day basis. Other than nutrition, we are talking right now about the second pillar, which is the movement
Movement.
part. So,
Yeah.
we want to understand from you what are the critical components that anyone should follow in their daily life to pick up pace and start moving.
Yes. So, movement is medicine. Your body loves movement. Our bodies are designed for movement. So, understand that science first. Next, you look at yourself. A lot of people who are spending time just sitting on their desks and have a sedentary lifestyle begin to notice that their joints are giving them trouble. There are joint pains that are happening, and they're not feeling energetic. So begin to notice what's going on in your body and ask yourself how active you are. Do you have a habit of exercising on a regular basis? So if the answer to that is no, then you know that you need to do something about it. So begin by picking up something which you enjoy. So so that's again. So one is the science, then it's you. You need to understand what you like to do, because if you pick up something you enjoy, you will stick with it. And then your journey will evolve. Like everything, you need to get started and get started with
Absolutely.
just understanding yourself and get started somewhere. Don't just keep waiting, for that perfect. So you don't need to do too much of research. Just get started with something. If you enjoy dance, just take up a dance fitness class, or you enjoy strength training and you want to strength train, work on your building yourself stronger, then join a strength and conditioning session or something like that, or just get started. There are also good books you can start on your own. You want to start, You can do that also. Before I got into fitness, I mean, if I just go back in time, I think I had picked up a book of yoga. I just and I really liked the way it was. I could relate to it, and I got started, right? And so
Mhm.
all of our journeys have to start somewhere. There is no right or wrong. So most ideal
Yes.
thing is pick up something you enjoy doing and start doing that. Stick with it. Again, consistency, right? Do it for 3 months. And then you see, you will start noticing so many things will happen in 3 months. Your body will get better and you will build some endurance. You will feel good in the body and then you will discover something new. And you will say, okay, I
Yes.
want to try this. Go ahead and do that, right? And if you take me, I have, I teach different movement formats. And I love strength training. I love lifting weights. I love doing yoga. I love so many things, right? Because I've discovered
Absolutely.
so many of these movement styles, and I've just fallen in love with movement. So
Absolutely.
movement in any form, be it walking, be it walking or cycling or lifting weights, going to the gym, doing yoga, trying a Pilates workout, dancing, all of these I enjoy doing. And keep on exploring. So that's just
Absolutely.
me. But you may not be like me. Maybe you don't want to do. There are many people as a trainer I find they don't want to dance. They don't like dance.
Haha.
Whatever it is, and some people are open to it. They will try and then they will fall in love with dancing. Then there are some who will not want to try. It's just their nature, right?
Yes.
And that's all right. So just connect with yourself and figure out what you want to get started with and just get started. That's it. Wherever you are, you have some joint pains, you know that it's the sedentary lifestyle which is giving you trouble. Then why keep sitting and waiting or do something, right? So movement, just every day, try to move in some way and notice how that makes you feel. So some movement is better than no movement. And I can
Yes.
keep talking about the science and the research. Most of us already know that we need to be active, and there are a lot of guidelines telling you that you do some kind of aerobic exercise 30
Yes.
minutes 5 days a week, do strength exercise working different muscle groups twice in a week. We know all these guidelines, right? But the problem that's happening is our understanding of ourselves, right?
Yes.
And how can I apply it? Now, if you have a very, very busy lifestyle, it can get very difficult for you to take time out for, say, half an hour or 1 hour of exercise. So, why not just do like a simple mobility routine first thing in the morning for 5 minutes? Get started with that. Some of us want like this 60 minutes. We think that if I don't have 60 minutes, then I won't do anything. So, that is this all or nothing
Absolutely.
approach. So, we don't want to have that. Understand that the sedentary lifestyle is causing so many diseases and problems,
So,
and we have to address that. As a coach, I need to address that, and I do that by making my exercise program interesting, exciting for people to come and do and also get results. It's not just about thing, also they're getting results and they're enjoying and having fun. And so the same thing as an individual, know that this collective problem is there and you can get started with doing something you enjoy, and then you will stick with it.
true. I think very, very rightly said. It's about keeping ourselves physically active. The more we move, the better it is for the body. And in fact, I was speaking to one NASM master trainer, and she talked about that each day we should try and clock 15,000 steps if we are really interested to lose weight. And that's like it's like there's nothing less than that. And the only way to do it is like keep moving it. It does not have to be always stressful that you have to go for a 30-minute walk or so. It could be
Yes.
maybe walking after each meal for 5 minutes, or it could also be just going to the mall and endlessly doing window shopping for
Yes.
hours. So if two people may enjoy those things. It could be just going to the market to buy some vegetables or fruits and coming back. So all of these account to number of steps, and these are the ways people can pick up these habits and then increase the count of steps. So yeah, I think very, very rightly put together.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks for sharing that. And just to add on to that, now I don't take the elevator at all. I always taking the stairs, and my daughter also does that because she's whenever she's following me, she's also never taking, and this becomes a habit. And again, like you mentioned, like the trainer mentioned to you, that staying active, just keep moving, and that becomes a habit. So for me also, I can never sit in one place for too long. I'm walking, I have like a, even in my house, I've got like an open kind of a kitchen, so I'm walking. I don't need to keep standing in one place.
Absolutely,
And it's a long-term benefit because I've been doing this now for so many years. It's gives you the results in the way you feel. So
exactly,
it's a personal
exactly.
experience. I can tell you that just by staying active and moving, I feel good in my body. So
True.
you can also feel the same way if you just stay active. And habits. So keep on doing it, repeating it. It will become a habit.
Absolutely, and it's more about the more we move, the better we feel because new thoughts and because every time I become or I mean I go out for a run or I perform certain activity, it alerts my mind, and from there that's where it has made me more disciplined as a person and helps me to stay motivated most of the time. So that's how I think these are certain habit building activities which we talked about. So other aspect which I think we should talk about the third one, which is sleep. And there's a
Yes.
lot has already been talked about that someone should sleep for say 7 hours minimum per se. And there's a lot of research and a lot of influencers and a lot of people have talked about it. It would be great to understand how one exactly can build those sleeping habits because each individual has their own challenges in life. Someone may be working late in the evenings, or someone may be rising early in the morning, and so they may not be able to complete these 7 hours almost on a daily basis. So, how
Yes.
exactly one can build this habit? What are the tenets that one should follow to build this habit of sleep?
Yeah. So I will share my own personal experience, things that help me at least improve my sleep quality. Like you mentioned, every day, sometimes it's not possible for us to meet those 7 to 9 hours of
True.
sleep. Sometimes we're able to meet it over the weekend. Maybe if you're going to bed early over the weekend, we give ourselves a little extra time to sleep in the morning, and we can meet those 7 to 9 hours. But on a regular weekday, it's not always possible. But what
Yes.
we can do, yes. So what we can do is work on our sleep quality. So I want to share my personal experience of what helps me to have a good sleep quality, and I use a tracker. So I track my sleep quality, and I get kind of a score, and that's just to give me a sense of how I'm doing, and also check in with myself if I'm feeling refreshed in the morning. So that's the thing. So what helps me is having an early dinner. So I finish my dinner by say around 7 itself, So and so that really has helped me in improving my sleep quality. And so I'm finishing my dinner like say about 2.5 hours before going to bed, 2.5
Ah,
3 hours before going to bed. And the other thing I do, and I feel that it works, is not keeping your mind very stimulated when you're going to bed. So what helps
okay.
me is when I do my journaling as the last thing at night. So I use my journal and I just write down all the things that happened right that day. And
True.
if I have the time and I'm a little bit in a state of mind, which is already a calm state, then I do sit quietly, like meditation for 5 to 10 minutes. And I have found that these three things, meditating for 5 to 10 minutes, having an early dinner, and doing some journaling on days that my mind is a little stimulated, if I write it down, it helps to calm me and improves the quality of my sleep. Those are some of my personal experiences. Now, science has told many other things, using an eye mask because we want to like not have any light coming into our eyes
Yes.
and wake us up in the middle of the night. And understand yourself if you're a light sleeper, so then make sure that you are in a very quiet surroundings, and having an eye mask and all that will help you to not wake up suddenly in the middle of the night. So, like I said, two aspects. One is the science of it, and second is understanding yourself and trying some of these habits. The other things that help is spending outdoor time in the daytime. So you want to get some sunlight, right? Exposure to outdoors, doing exercising for half hour. All these things kind of add up to give you that good sleep at night. Not having stimulants after 5 p.m. So you have your tea, coffee, whatever the last cup of coffee by 4, and try out these things. So, like I said, only three things work for me: doing some meditation, doing some journaling, having an early dinner, and my sleep quality has really improved over the years. And these habits are helping me. So, you need to try out some of these habits and see what works for you. And wherever possible, try to get 7 to 9 hours of rest. Some of us, because we are not conscious, right? So we allow the night time to just keep running, or we are watching television. We don't have a process. The other thing I wanted to say is we need to have like a process, routine, systems. Now, these things keep us in track. So if
True.
I have an alarm going, if I have an alarm going at say 8:30 p.m., it's a reminder for me to kind of start wrapping up,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yes.
then I consciously, the other thing that I have started to do and also help my clients to do is stay away from the phone at least an hour before going to bedtime. So the reason is, again, your mind is like in that stimulated state. So we want to
Exactly.
kind of signal to the brain that it's time to kind of calm down. So you need to be really interested first in improving your sleep quality, because only when you're really motivated will you do all these things, right? So understand the science that your rest is really important for the productivity, for your own productivity. Understand yourself, what is possible unto you. Create certain routines and processes that will help you stay in track, and know that, okay, so you have a alarm going and you start to wrap up, stay away from the phone. Signal to your brain, let's just calm down. For some people, taking a warm shower before going to bed helps. For some people, taking a warm beverage, maybe having a turmeric milk. Try it out.
True.
We need to try all of these things and stick to what works for you.
Absolutely. And in fact, I was speaking to one other expert who is an expert in sleep management, and he was talking about how important sleep is, because oftentimes we believe that the lesser we sleep, the more productive we can be. And in fact, if I go back, say, a few years ago, the mindset, typically, I said, majority of the people have this mindset: if I sleep lesser for lesser number of hours, we'll have more time to work on things and complete loads of tasks. But what
Yeah.
we ignore is the quality of work degrades, and the
Yeah.
productivity also reduces. And it takes years for any individual to master having say 3 hours of quality sleep. It's not that something that can happen overnight. So
Yes.
it will take years to have your 7 hours of complete sleep. You can't crunch it into 3 hours of quality sleep, and it takes time. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And the habits are built through repetition and sticking for long. And the other thing that I want to add is be very careful of what you repeat,
true.
right? If you're going to, and your mindset also
Definitely.
matters, right? Telling yourself that you need this rest and recovery for you to do a good job. And instead of telling yourself that I want to minimize my sleep and maximize the amount of work that I'm creating, and like it's like being on that hamster wheel, not knowing that what you're doing something is wrong. So, and that is a problem with our culture, right? Because we are in this rush and busy, and we don't have any system or process to really stop, and see what we are doing, and analyzing the results that we are getting. So like you said, if with such less amount of sleep you are generating work which is not quality work, but you're just doing that and not taking the time to stop and see what is the quality of that work that's coming out. And
True.
so the same thing with, so it's really about slowing down also, I feel. In today's world, I think you want to improve your health, fitness, whatever, taking the time to really slow down and see what actions you're already doing and the result that you're getting. And, and learning something from that, that some of the things you're doing is not giving you good results. Understanding and discovering that for yourself, and then making
Exactly.
some changes.
Exactly. And if we sleep less, so obviously the next pillar is stress. So stress creeps in our life and we feel dejected. We are not able to complete our goals, or we are, uh, and it could happen for multiple reasons. It could be something happened in our personal lives or professional lives, and we feel stressed. So how exactly we can manage or keep stress and become less stressful in certain situations?
Yeah, yeah. So again, each person handles stress differently. You know, some of us genetically or however we've handle stress better than some other people. So be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed you feel, and ask yourself whether you have tools to manage this
Yeah.
stress. For some of us, spending time in nature feels very de-stressing. For some of us, just writing or journaling or doing some activity mindfully where we can get into a state of flow is very de-stressing.
True.
So you need to discover for yourself what really makes you feel better, and do those things, consciously do those things on a daily basis. Spend at least 5-10 minutes doing that. Talk to people, take support. So there are so many things that can help you deal with what you're going through. The other thing in today's world is we have a lot of stress which we are keeping it bottled inside. But today people are also getting more aware. There is a lot of more people are open to going to a therapist or having a chat, talking. And so we need to open our minds and be honest with ourselves about what's going on with us and ask for help. So that could be another thing. So so we have spoken about all these different aspects. So key thing is really tune into yourself. I think that's very important in today's world where we are really distracted. There is a lot of distraction. Everyone is telling you something to do, and you know, so it is really important to slow down,
Yeah. True.
connect, and tune into yourself. You know, ground, tune into yourself, and which is why this sheet that I have prepared for you, and I want the audience also to sit with it
Yeah.
and ask yourself some questions. Be absolutely honest with yourself in each of this, and next set process goals, process oriented goals, and see what is possible for you depending on what life stage you are in, how whether if you are busy or more available, mental space more available for this. So depending on that, you set some goals. Everyone can make progress, right? We all can
Exactly.
get better from where we are. So our journeys should be very individual and specific to us, where we are not comparing ourselves with someone else whose life is totally different. Some people may be able to spend time at a gym for that many hours. You may not be able to do it, right? And
True. True.
so understand what is possible unto you and create your own path, your own your roadmap to progressing. So this 2024, be mindful of tuning into yourself, understanding where you are, and focus on making progress. Don't get caught up with the pressure of perfection. You know, so become trying to be perfect is like a short way of derailing your journey. So just keep doing and moving forward and enjoying the process. So
Absolutely.
another thing that comes, yes,
So
yes. Go ahead.
One thing which I would want to add to it is oftentimes we start comparing our journey with someone else's journey. And we start comparing, okay, this guy has achieved this certain things in their life, and the other person has achieved certain things in their life. And that kind of comparison also builds up a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. It's important that we compare to ourselves what we were yesterday and what we are today. For example, like I always have this tenet for me in my life wherein I say to myself, okay, today I may not have a particular thing or a particular achievement, but even after 3 months, if I am not able to earn it, then the fault lies with me. It's not with anyone else, including the environment, right? So, and then that motivates me to work towards getting that, or to improving myself. I think more than getting it, it's about making that incremental changes in my behavior, my personality, my work ethics, my work style, so that I am
Yes.
able to improve upon this. And much of it I will also attribute to my love of running, which started in 2017. And from there itself, I realized two things. One, the importance of the second, because when you run, every second is important. Because you get tracked for how much time you took to complete a 5K or 10K or a half marathon. So that's the thing. And the second is every day when you go out to run, it's a unique day. You cannot say that, okay, yesterday I did say 5K in say 25 minutes. Today I will try and do it say in 15 minutes. That's
Yeah.
impossible. So even if you push, unless you build that your endurance or stamina and you practice, it is very difficult to achieve that kind of goal. So it's
Yes.
important that incremental improvement of self
Yes.
is extremely important, is what I have realized in all the journey that I have in my own health and fitness since 2017.
Yes, yes. Thanks for sharing that. And that's true. And for some of us, we may initially feel like we look at others, and there is also the school of thought where you feel that having someone better than you motivates you to push yourself a little bit harder, right?
Absolutely.
So I feel a lot depends on you as a person and what your nature is. What's your personality like? And for some of us, maybe that kind of competition helps you grow. Why not? But then the point where it becomes stressful is where the problem is, right? It's the
Absolutely.
problem is not having someone comparing yourself with someone in a way that affects you negatively. I think that's the problem.
True.
So being more self-aware, I think, and understanding your personality and your style. Now, if you take me, for instance, I like to do things in my pace, and I'm not so much into this competition kind of culture. That's not my thing. My
Absolutely.
thing is learning,
True.
taking the time to learn, and that is my thing. So understanding yourself and what will help you grow, right? What helps you progress on this journey? So oftentimes, so that is the key learning in any journey. And like you said, every day is different, and you cannot just
Absolutely.
suddenly one day expect, like you said, you have been doing certain distance at a certain time. It is not just
True.
about bullying your body. You're just bullying your body by saying, today I'm going to do extra. You will be able to do extra only after you train for that extra,
Absolutely.
right? Like you said. So that training is going to take a certain amount of time. So
Absolutely.
the pressure that you're bringing in yourself is, you have created that pressure for yourself, isn't
Exactly.
it? So understanding that being a bit level-headed, I would say, and knowing that these things take time and being okay with that is, I
And
think,
then
part of the journey. It's part of the journey.
exactly. And before I move on to the next pillar, I would want to cite one very good example about it. All of us, I mean, we are aware about the fastest man on earth, Usain Bolt. To run that distance of 100 meters in less than 10 seconds, that guy trains for 4 years so that he can do that in say lesser than 10 seconds kind of time. So we must realize it takes time. It takes time. There's no I mean we must not unnecessarily stress ourselves. I know it is our life. Everyone gets stressed. It is easier to said. It is easier said than done kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yes.
we should always keep striving to improving ourselves and working towards it so that we become a better version of ourselves on a day-to-day lives. Right. So,
Yes.
and that from there I'll move because since we are talking about more from say reaching a point in life where we start to feel happy, and that's where I want to talk about different aspects about mental, emotional, social health of the pillar which you have mentioned. And one more thing, uh, uh, the worksheet which Purnima is mentioning. So we'll be sharing that worksheet along with this video once we put it out on our channel, so on Instagram, and we'll also try and release this worksheet on our website and other places on LinkedIn, Facebook, and everywhere, so that you can download it through the channel. So we will try and so it is a I would say summary of helping people try and tick mark certain activities that they need to do every day and keep track of okay whether I have been able to achieve certain things, not able to achieve. If something is missing, then go back and it's like revisiting on things and then trying to complete each goal. So the next one, Purnima, is more on, as I said, mental, emotional, and social health. So yeah, how exactly we reach that state of bliss? Whether is it even achievable, or is it like something which is we just fancy but we'll never be able to achieve?
So, the first step would always be asking yourself how you feel, right? How you feel
Yes,
within, and being honest with yourself about it. So, a lot in today's world, right? People are very busy, so we might feel lonely. Loneliness is also a big thing in today's world,
true,
right?
true.
So, making that effort to really get out and create that sense of belonging. So that's the personal effort that you need to put in. We always feel good when we are in the company of people who make us feel safe, make us feel accepted, and they are our friends and your family and your friends. You want to spend some time with them, so we need to take the time to create that relationship with people who are close to us. So really
Absolutely.
putting in that effort, putting in that effort and not just being caught up in just life. Because life will keep happening, work will be there, and all of those things. But our relationships really matter. So we know that there's been this Howard study also that has been done, and the finding is that our relationships keep us happy and healthy
Yes,
in the long term. So, like everything else, we also need to put in the work and effort in that direction. So, taking the time, so our social health, using your weekends to spend time with your family, with your friends, and noticing how that makes you feel. If be honest with yourself, if you don't have people to open up to, consider if you want to, do a therapy or go to a therapist to have a chat. Be open about it. So really understanding that mental and emotional health is also a very important thing to take care of. So in between, I had done a series with a parenting coach
okay,
on emotional intelligence,
ah,
and it is very important to understand, to be able to articulate some of the things that we feel instead of keeping them bottled inside, because that can also create health issues for us.
yeah,
Finding ways to articulate what we experience, expressing it, maybe if not verbally, in a written form, using a journal, a book, to just write down what you are feeling is very important, to help you to regulate your emotions. So it's
absolutely.
like it's a journey, a continuous process, but get started with also connecting with your emotions and doing a good assessment and understanding if you are bottling up emotions and asking yourself what you can do, if you can find a friend to start talking to, scheduling time over the weekend to spend with people you feel safe with. Doing these things can help you to improve your mental and emotional health. Also, taking the time to do things that you enjoy doing, not for any kind of materialistic return, but just that it brings you joy. You know, playing an instrument, singing, figuring out what
Absolutely.
your own unique interests are can help you in your mental health.
Absolutely. In fact, like I would also want to weave it to the sleep part of it. And from my understanding, it's like there have been a lot of studies that have been done on sleep. And it clearly, those studies clearly documents that if you sleep for say less than 3 to 4 hours and then you wake up, so there are chances you will wake up or you will get cranky almost on a day-to-day basis. Even at the smaller things, you will even feel irritated, you will feel annoyed more often. And if that becomes a habit, obviously it causes more stress to you, and it becomes very difficult to manage your life in a better way. So, yeah, I think almost all the pillars are interconnected to each other. If we talk about
Yes,
nutrition, if we talk about movement, if we talk about sleep, if
yes,
we talk about stress management,
yes.
so all of that combined actually leads to the fulfillment of the social aspect of any human being, and I think that that's a, uh good
It's like
good
a
one
self-care,
thing
you
that
know, you
we
can call
spoke
it like
about.
a self-care model, you know,
True.
self-care, a
Absolutely,
holistic self-care kind of model.
absolutely. So before we, break for the day, Purnima, I think we already have exceeded our time. So just one last question to you. What do you do apart from work? I mean, in your free time, what do you love doing or what do you enjoy doing?
Okay, there are many things, So I love reading, I love writing. So I also write on a regular basis. So every Fridays I release like a newsletter on Substack, and I also have a couple of other blogs. So I also like spending time with my daughter. I play the keyboard, and just generally I love keeping active. I also like meeting people, socializing. So, so I have all of those, and I love learning something new. So I always like to learn something new.
Absolutely. And I would request all those who have joined today to go and read Purnima's blog. She writes wonderfully well, and I have read her blog. She has shared the links with me. There's a lot of information and thought that has gone into creating that kind of content. So it's amazing to read those blogs and learn new things about from her. Uh,
Thank you so
and
much.
so any questions from the audience, if we can get, we are looking forward to it. Any questions? I was expecting, sorry, I would have missed asking you guys to ask questions, but yeah, please feel free to drop your questions if you have any.
Yes, you can drop any questions that you have, or if you get any questions later, I can address them. Anything.
Yes, so I think that that brings us to the close of today's live session, and we'll come back to all of you with another interesting session next week. And so you can reach out to Purnima. Purnima, if you could talk about your Insta handle.
Yeah.
If you could mention your Insta handle name, Purnima.
Yeah, I will just type it in.
Okay, I think we have a
Yeah.
question. So it's
Okay.
uh, I would like to ask about digital fatigue. So I think
Yes.
this more from the perspective of using screens. mobile screens. And I mean, when we were talking about it, just flashed to me. Are these mobile phones? I mean, we call them cell phones as well, and they are in fact like a cellular jail. They have captivated our mind, and yes, physically as well and mentally as well. They have jailed us in that small screen, and then we can't think
Yes.
beyond us. We are so much dependent on our phones. Every message that comes, we just are prone to looking at phones and getting distracted. And it is extremely difficult to concentrate, is what I feel. So, how exactly we can fix this? I think this is a very big problem now.
Yes, this is the problem that many of us are facing, and this needs to be addressed in a little bit more conscious way. So just last week, I've just wrapped up this challenge. So I haven't spoken about this community. So there is this community that I'm building. I had mentioned it in the podcast as well, where we do 5-day health challenges.
Uh,
So anything in the area of these pillars, right? Our nutrition, sleep, stress management, mental health, and movement. So any of these areas, we pick up something to do for 5 days. So the whole idea is to make people realize that 5 days they can do it and notice how that makes them feel and how they can integrate it into their life. So I'm really passionate about helping people integrate these habits into their life. So which is why I am doing this. So if you are a woman listening to this, reach out to me if you want to be part of this community. Now, coming to this challenge, which I wrapped up this week, was on this digital detox. So, thanks for that question. So, the thing that we were trying to do these 5 days is to stay away from our phones the first 1 hour of waking up. So, as soon as you wake up, we all have this tendency to check the messages that we have on our phones. So, resist the urge to do that for the first 1 hour, unless it's like very urgent or something like that. Try to avoid looking at the phone for the first 1 hour. Avoid looking at the phone the last 1 hour before going to bed. And try to keep the phone away when you're eating meal times. So this is what we did for the 5 days. Some people face the challenge of during the night time they were facing the challenge, but they were able to do it in the daytime. So we have to consciously try these things. I think this person has mentioned on the quality of our sleep. Yes, we are spending so much of our time being stimulated, mentally stimulated, waking up in the morning and quickly you're getting that. So it's like you're getting that quick burst of that dopamine,
mm,
right? So, and then your brain feels good and you feel that you need more of it and more of it, that kind of a thing that happens. So we don't want that to happen. So you have to consciously train yourself. Everything is about training. So we can train our brains by repeating the good habits. Start your day in the morning, staying away from the phone for an hour. Stay away from the phone at night for an hour. And during the day also, try to consciously avoid going on checking your messages, right? And
absolutely.
also, when you are scrolling, make sure that you have a time limit to it. Say 10 minutes, I'm going to do this. But for some of us, we are not at all conscious. We are just doing this scrolling thing, and then half an hour, 45 minutes, even an hour is gone just doing that. So become conscious of your habits. So that
And
is one thing that I would say.
in fact, one of the things which I have started to practice, in fact, I also picked up this habit of picking up the phone in the morning a few weeks ago, and then I thought, oh, where exactly I'm going. So I stopped using phone at least for the first 2 hours in the morning. Uh,
Yeah.
but one of the things which I think is, which I'm practicing right now, is trying to switching off the notifications. Whenever
Yes.
I'm working, I try to switch off the notifications, because that's all those nudges are extremely not only disturbing, it's irritating, because we just move our mind to something else and we get distracted. It's time to come
Yeah.
back and focus on the work again with similar concentration. And trust me, almost 100, close to 100% of the messages that we get these days are all either someone trying to sell something, or it's a fake bogus messages or something
Yes.
transaction. So I think the best part is we keep the notifications off at least for certain hours in a day, where we can give it to ourselves, we can focus on our work. And then when we feel, yes, now we have time, we can spend something on phone, just go and switch on the notification, take a look at it, and again go back and switch it off. So probably trying to do that certain times, it takes time. I mean, it's again easier said than done. It takes time, and everyone will have their own priorities. I'm not saying that it will work for everyone. Everyone has their own priorities. They can decide. But for me, that's what I'm trying to practice in my life to keep
Yes.
myself fully concentrated, because there are a lot of important things that often gets distracted or missed because of the phone. Because it's really, I mean, challenging to manage the device today with so much of notifications, so much of things going on. And I mean, once you log into Instagram itself, you can just endlessly keep scrolling for half an hour, 1 hour, doing nothing, and just watching some videos that are going, and some of those videos even do not make any sense.
Yeah.
So
And it
maybe
also makes your brain dull. It makes you dull, right?
absolutely.
So we want to avoid spending too much of screen time, and we want to spend that time with people around us, with our own environments, right? With our immediate
Absolutely.
environment, spending time out and connecting with real people outside. And you notice how that makes you feel, then it opens up your creativity and things like that. And we are dulling ourselves, our brains, by just sitting and scrolling, and it's not helping us. So we need to understand that, realize it. Now, the person who asked this question is realizing that, right? He's realized that this is happening, it's not good. So that's always the first point, the first
Absolutely.
step. And then the second would be to, okay, what can you do? So you need to really have certain like processes, routine systems. Those are the things that are going to help you change.
Yeah.
So creating that for yourself. Now, if when I've been doing this now for 5 days, now automatically when I wake up, my brain tells me stay away from the phone. Right. So,
True.
like I said, be careful of what you repeat. So, good habits when you're repeating, it's good for you. But when you repeat this, waking up and quickly looking at the phone, now that's becoming a habit. And over time, it becomes difficult for you to break that. So,
Absolutely.
so it's really important to be self-aware, I would say, and if on your journey to become better, the more self-awareness you have, that will help you. So, science is one aspect of it, and everyone is talking only science, science, science. The second aspect is you. You need to really understand yourself and bring the two together. Understand yourself, understand the science, see how you can fit it in and create that behavior change. Then, whatever change you create will stick with you for the long term.
Absolutely. I think we're brilliantly put together. So we must always be honest to ourselves. I think that will help us to realize the problem and take the first step to fixing it. So thank you so much, Purnima, once again to joining us. And people can reach out to Purnima at Holistic Wellness with Purnima. That's her Instagram handle. And please follow Fit Aerobic. That's FITEROBIC, and stay connected for more exciting updates. We have a podcast that is fully recorded with Purnima. It's available on all the streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and host of there are hundreds of other podcast stream sites. So it's all available there. We're also going to soon put out the video recording of our discussion with Purnima, both the Instagram one and the video podcast that we recorded with Purnima soon on our YouTube, so you can watch it there as well. So thank you once again, Purnima, and
Thank
stay
you.
tuned for the next episode of our Instagram live discussion next week. Thanks,
Thank
Purnima.
you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
Thanks for joining. Thank you. Bye bye, and take care.